I remember that night like it was yesterday. I sat alone in my living room. It had been 2 long years since my dear friend, we will call him John, and me, George, had passed away. But his memory was still fresh in my mind. Little did I know that his presence would soon manifest in a way that would terrify me to the core. It was a typical evening, just like any other. The house creaked and groaned as the wind howled outside, creating an eerie symphony that set my nerves on edge. I had been engrossed in a book, desperately trying to distract myself from the loneliness that engulfed me. But no matter how hard I tried, the memories of John continued to haunt me. Suddenly, a faint whisper broke through the silence, causing me to jolt upright. "George," the voice called out, barely audible. My heart skipped a beat as I recognized the sound. It was John's voice, unmistakable and filled with an otherworldly echo. "John? Is that you?" I stammered, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. A cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the candles I had lit earlier. Shadows danced on the walls, making the atmosphere even more foreboding. Without warning, a figure materialized before me. It was John, but he appeared different somehow. His once jovial expression was replaced by a somber gaze, and his eyes held a depth of sadness I had never seen before. He looked ethereal, almost translucent, as if he was a mere specter from another realm. "Listen to me," John's voice quivered, and I could feel the urgency in his words. "Something terrible is about to happen to you. You're in danger." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could my deceased friend be standing before me, warning me of impending doom? I wanted to embrace him, to feel his physical presence, but I couldn't bring myself to move. Fear rooted me to the spot, rendering me immobile. "You must leave this place," John continued, his voice growing more desperate. "There's a darkness lurking here, something malevolent. It wants to harm you." Tears welled up in my eyes as I struggled to comprehend the gravity of the situation. Was this some cruel trick of the mind? Or was there truly an evil force lingering in the shadows of my home? Before I could gather my thoughts and respond, John vanished into thin air, leaving me alone in the darkness. The weight of this warning settled heavily upon me, filling me with a sense of unease that I couldn't shake. I knew I had to take his words seriously, but where could I go? How could I escape the unseen danger that threatened my life? As I sat there, contemplating my next move, I wondered what had happened to my peaceful sanctuary. Days turned into nights, and the weight of John's warning never left my mind. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of the lights, filled me with a sense of dread. I couldn't escape the feeling that something sinister was lurking just beyond my sight. Driven by a mix of curiosity and fear, I delved into John's words, trying to decipher their meaning. Why had he chosen to reveal himself to me now? What was it that he wanted to tell me? Something only I could understand. Late one evening, as I sat alone in my dimly lit bedroom, the answers began to surface. A sudden realization washed over me, chilling me to the bone. John had been reaching out to me, not just to warn me of danger, but to share a secret, a message that only I, his closest confidant, could comprehend. The memory of our friendship flooded my mind. John and I had shared countless secrets, whispered dreams, and unspoken fears. We had a bond that went beyond the ordinary, a connection that transcended the boundaries of life and death. With a newfound determination, I closed my eyes and focused on John's essence, summoning his presence once more. The room grew colder, the air thick with anticipation. And there, standing before me, once again, was John's ethereal form. "I understand," I whispered, my voice trembling. "You want to tell me something that only I can grasp." John's eyes filled with a mixture of relief and sadness. It was as if a burden had been lifted from his spirit. He reached out his translucent hand, and I tentatively grasped it, feeling a faint tingle of energy passing between us. At that moment, images and emotions flooded my mind, fragments of memories intertwined with unspoken words, creating a tapestry of understanding. I gasped as the truth unfolded before me. John had discovered a hidden secret, a dark secret that had led to his untimely demise. It involved someone close to me, someone I had trusted implicitly. He wanted me to uncover the truth, to expose the malevolence that had taken him away from this world. Tears streamed down my face as I nodded in comprehension. I would not let John's death be in vain. I would confront the darkness that haunted our lives, unmasking the betrayer who had snuffed out his light. With renewed purpose, John's spirit dissipated, leaving me with a newfound strength and resolve. I would embark on a journey to uncover the truth, to unravel the web of deceit that had ensnared our lives. As I stepped out into the night, the wind whispered my friend's name, urging me forward. The darkness no longer held me in fear. Instead, it fueled my determination to seek justice. I would face the horrors that awaited me, for John and for myself. Little did I know that this journey would test the limits of my courage and sanity. But armed with John's guidance from beyond the grave, I would not falter. The haunting truth awaited me, and I was prepared to confront it head on, even if it meant risking my own life. With my group of thrill seekers on a typical Friday night, it all began innocently enough. We were looking for something unique, something that would make us shiver. Jake, one of our staff members, who enjoys all things supernatural, then suggested the Ouija board. Yes, that infamous board that is said to link the living with the dead is what I was referring to. I wasn't really the superstitious type, but I'll admit that there was a tingling feeling of excitement and trepidation. As a result, we gathered around the coffee table in the living room while lighting a few candles to create a cozy atmosphere. With his extravagant showmanship, Jake had acquired the Ouija board from who knows where. There it was, this plain-looking board with its letters, numbers, and tiny wooden planchette. Jake laid out the guidelines, cautioned us against slacking off, and emphasized the significance of saying goodbye to any spirits we might summon. Jake started asking, "Is there anyone here who wants to communicate with us?" as soon as we placed our fingertips lightly on the planchette. Nothing happened for a few anxious seconds. I'll admit that we were half expecting it to be a complete dud and just a pointless game. The planchette then made a very slight twitch under our fingers. My skin pricked up with goosebumps, and I looked around to make sure everyone else was experiencing the same thing. The Ouija board began to come to life at that point. The planchette responded to our inquiries by spelling out words and providing cryptic answers, while moving with an unsettling fluidity. It professed to be Emily, a young woman who had tragically perished in a fire. We were equally fascinated and alarmed. Our skepticism began to dwindle as the night went on. Emily appeared to be aware of details about us that we hadn't disclosed to anyone. It appeared as though she had gained access to our darkest secrets, apprehensions, and regrets. An electric mix of excitement and unease filled the air as it became heavy. The planchette then abruptly deviated, spelling out a word that sent shivers down our spines. Run. But just as we were about to end our otherworldly session, it did so. We looked at each other in awe. The room grew cold, and a gust of wind rattled the windows, making me wonder if we had awakened something evil. I'll leave you there, dangling on the edge of your seat. You'll have to wait for part 2 to find out, my friends, whether we heeded the warning and fled, or whether we perished, foolishly allowing something evil into our lives. Panic set in as we saw the word run written on the board. We left the room without needing any further encouragement, tripping over one another as we hurried to get out. The house itself appeared to be groaning with an unidentified malevolence, and the air seemed to be thick with an otherworldly presence. Gasping for air, we huddled outside on the front lawn as we exchanged wide-eyed looks. Fear and adrenaline raced through our bodies. What had been hidden in the shadows, waiting for a chance to escape its supernatural confines? What had we unleashed? A low, guttural growl suddenly erupted from inside the house, startling us. It stopped us in our tracks and sent shivers down our spines. It was a sound that could not be explained by reason. It belonged to nightmares. Without thinking, we turned to face the house again, hearts racing. We'd never forget what we witnessed next. The house's windows glowed with an ominous light and pulsed with a sinister energy. Aesthetic shapes that appeared to be writhing in pain were formed by dancing shadows that were hidden by the curtains. Then, with an audible crash, the front door flew open, letting a wave of darkness wash over the porch. We watched as a figure that wasn't entirely spectral emerged from within, paralyzed by fear. Its twisted, elongated limbs appeared to defy the laws of nature, and its eyes shone like burning coals. It emitted a spine-tingling screech that seemed to rip through reality itself. We were confronted by a creature that belonged in the realm of nightmares. We eventually awoke from our coma as the creature moved closer to us, shaking the ground beneath us with each step. We ran through the night, the eerie wails of the entity echoing behind us, fueled by desperation. We didn't go back to that house again. We dispersed, each of us plagued by our own distinct nightmares. Some people asserted to have caught fleeting glimpses of the creature lurking just out their peripheral vision in the shadows. Others experienced recurrent nightmares caused by the terrifying presence of the entity that persisted even while they were asleep. We were now left to deal with the effects of our play with forces that were beyond our comprehension. We were unprepared to handle the realm the Ouija board had unlocked, and the terrifying experience had left us scarred for life.